How did a beauty pageant winner win the heart of a wealthy baron and also be celebrated for changing the art scene in Madrid? We're here for a month in Madrid, and it's where we discovered this amazing story. But first, we'll take you to all the best places in Madrid to see art. Art that changes how we see the world and that even rivals the stunning masterpieces you may remember that we saw back in Paris. Madrid has a lot of great museums, but the biggest and the best is the Prado, and we're about to go in now. Recently celebrating its 200th anniversary, Spain's national collection can boast of welcoming almost 3 million visitors a year to what has become one of Europe's finest painting collections.
When you visit the Prado Museum, you may want to take a tour. Of course, they have audio guides that are available, but you don't have to go to a third party if you want a tour. A really important tip to know is that the museum does guided tours here in the facility. It's separate from your entrance tickets. You have to buy your entrance ticket, and you can do that online so you can skip the lines. But once you're inside, go to ground floor, ground zero, and there's an education desk where you can buy guided tour tickets. It's about 90 minutes, but it's of course affiliated with the museum itself. We could not get them both online. You may think you can, but you can't. So get here a little early before your entrance time. Make sure if you need an English tour that you choose one of those. Buy your ticket and you're ready to go.
The Prado is really unique because it started as the art collection of a king who had the best art from the European countries over which Spain once reigned.
The museum really was terrific. We had a great time. The museum has about 39,000 pieces in their collection, but they only display just under 4,000. But even that is quite a bit. So you want to come here with a plan. Either know exactly what you're going to see or do what we did and take the tour.
The tour was wonderful. Again, we took the tour that was sponsored by the museum, not a third party, and she was great. Her English was great. She was obviously an expert. And she took us around to all the masterpieces of the museum and not only, showed them to us, but she explained them to us. We interacted with many of them, and she gave us a really good idea about why they were masterpieces, why they were important, and the stories they told. So I highly recommend getting the tour. We even got lucky, and they had a special event going on where I had a pianist come in, and we got to sit among the art and listen to a pianist play for about 30 minutes. It was just wonderful. Yeah. It was a great visit.
It really was. They don't play the concerts every day, but if you check the website and coordinate your visit with the concerts, you're really going to enjoy it. It's going to bring it to a different level.
You may be surprised to find out that Madrid has a lot of museums. There's a whole art walk they have that's just nothing but museum after museum. And of course, Prado is probably the most famous, but right behind Prado is the Reina Sofia here behind me. It is only modern art. It's a beautiful, huge facility from 1900 to today. So we're gonna go in and check it out today.
The building that houses the Reina Sofia is comprised of two parts. The new wing inaugurated in 2005, and the part that was originally built as the Madrid General Hospital by King Philip II of Spain in the 16th century. Honestly, I was a little unsure about this particular museum, but there are some big names here, from Picasso to Dali. It's all really impressive.
At the Reina Sofia, you have to see Picasso's Guernica behind me. It's a masterpiece and absolutely the prize of their collection, and really a masterpiece known around the world. He painted it, of course, in black and white, and it's all about the atrocities of the war. And it's really kind of haunting and a really neat piece to see.
It was only a few months ago that the museum lifted its longtime ban on photos of Guernica, so you are seeing some of the very first video to be taken since then. We promised you a story at the beginning of the video about a beauty pageant winner who changed art in Madrid. The legacy of that story is here in this museum.
Today we're here in Madrid at the Thyssen Museum, right behind me. We're about to go in. This place has got a really interesting history. It's one of the museums that's part of the Golden Triangle of art, they call it here in Madrid, with the other big museums. But this one's really interesting because it's actually the collection of Western art of a very rich gentleman from Switzerland who ultimately wound up marrying Miss Spain 1961, and she convinced him to bring the collection to Spain. She's still around and it's still part of her private collection. She actually loans it to Spain, and we're going to go in and check it out now.
It was in 1985 that the Baron married Carmen Tita Cervera, former Miss Spain 1961. It was the Baron who introduced her to the art collecting scene. The late Baron was actually her third husband. At first, she was married to actor Lex Barker of Tarzan fame. The collection was originally in Switzerland, but Cervera's influence was decisive in persuading the Baron to relocate the core of his collection to Spain, where the local government had this building available next to the Prado. The Baroness's collection is valued at 1.04 billion euros or $1.3 billion. It includes 180 paintings and sculptures from masters such as Van Gogh, Velázquez, Rodin, and more. Beginning in 1999, the Baroness lent her collection to the museum for free. That is until recently. Citing money issues, the Baroness finalized an agreement to instead loan the collection for an annual fee of 6.5 million euros, or $7.8 million. We've talked about the big three art museums in Madrid, but we just have to suggest some hidden gems for you as well. We covered these more completely in our History Museum video, but these history museums have some interesting art collections. We suggest the Cerralbo Museum, which is the previous home of a wealthy aristocrat. It gives you an idea of what life was like for the wealthy in old Spain, and the wealthy owner's full art collection is on display for you to admire. The Museum of the History of Madrid has a great art collection that lets you see what Madrid looked like in its early days. And in an unusual recommendation, the crypt of the Madrid Cathedral has some interesting religious art. In our next video, we discovered the amazing parks of Madrid, so set notifications.